Hey guys, how are you doing? It's Jay Victoria. I actually was just doing an energy clearing session, and my, spirit, or the spirit, or whatever you want to call it, with all respect, told me to do this video. And so I'm doing it. And this is about how when things happen in your life and they feel annoying and they feel scary and you don't want them to be happening, that's actually part of the process. That's part of the process. It's like when you go along in life and stuff happens and you don't expect it, sometimes you're like, that's wrong. You're like, this shouldn't be happening. And that causes a lot of problems because you're resisting the fact that something is happening, and you're calling it wrong, and you're resisting, and you're tensing yourself up against it, instead of being like, this is part of the overall change that I'm going through. This is like not wrong necessarily. And I think it's just a helpful way to look at things, because as soon as you stop resisting something and you start just being like, what do I do about it? Or there's that quote, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. It's like, as soon as you stop calling it wrong, you start getting into the space of like, how do I need to change? How do I need to grow? And then you start even looking at like, how is this forcing me to grow? And how is this actually solving problems for me in the long run? Because it's forcing me to become a version of myself that I haven't been yet. And I think a lot of the time when you're trying to have a better life, you don't realize that you living a better life isn't just about your outside circumstances changing. It's about you becoming a different version of yourself, meaning the version of yourself that has the things that you want is different inside, has different qualities, has different strengths, has grown in different ways. And instead of just being given like $1 million that you think will solve all your problems, it's more about, how am I gonna be a different version of myself? Like, how am I going to be different? How am I going to actually, like, how is the version of me that has that stuff living differently? Like, handling things differently, responding to new challenges differently. And I think when you look back on the challenges you've already had and how maybe you didn't respond to them in a way that helped you to grow ultimately, even though I think we always learn from what happens, but maybe like you picked up on negative energy, or you made mistakes, or you did things that you regret. And it's like, how can you not do that with this new situation? And I think that can give you a lot of fire in your belly. It can give you a lot of like actual motivation, because you have problems, because you have things that you need to solve. Because instead of being able to maybe, I think you can always take breaks and relax, but maybe this week, like, you're meant to address some of these things in your life and not ignore them. Maybe you're supposed to, I always feel like God gives you everything that you need, even if you feel like it's not enough. It's like, look closer and ask yourself, if you really wanted to solve this, do you have enough at your disposal that you could be creative with it and you could find a way? And I feel like if you really truly look at what you have and the capability you have and the faith that you have and what's being sent to you and given to you, there's always going to be a way through everything. And I think sometimes when you have resistance, it can be for several reasons, but one might be that you just don't, like, you feel tired, or you feel tired of life, and you're like, I feel like this is why a lot of people just want money, because they think that, like, at least if I have money, I can relax about survival and money, and I don't have to, like, but I think what you don't realize is that even if someone gave you a bunch of money right now, it would be great, but you could still have a lot of the same problems, and you might feel like almost like an emptiness and a frustration. I remember at one point I got a bunch of money, and I really didn't know what to do with it, and I almost felt a glimpse of that, what I've heard people talk about before, which is like, it really doesn't solve everything. Like, if you think about the inner change that you want to have in your life, and if you think about those things, that's a lot of the things that you can change right now. And they're difficult. I'm going to be honest. It's not easy to motivate yourself sometimes. It's not easy to just be like, okay, I need to just like, change a bunch of my habits and be really different and make a lot of different choices. But I think what you need to hear today is that you're making a lot of choices every single day. It's just a matter of making different choices. Things don't have to be harder. And in fact, when you, sorry, there's a lot of play happening around me. In fact, when you do things this way, you make things easier. I know it seems like I'm going to make my life harder by trying to solve all these problems, but in fact, you're making things easier because then you won't have the problems anymore. I think it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to it's a lot harder to do nothing and carry a lot of problems in your life than to do like what you need to do, right? Which is not necessarily harder, it's just different. It's just doing different things. So let's say that if the version of you that has more of what you want is like more organized, then it's just a matter of being like, instead of choosing to lay around and be sad for an hour today, like my habits dictate that I would, I'm going to like put 10 items, I'm gonna like clean up 10 things. And I recently did this with the dishes. I get really overwhelmed with the dishes sometimes, and especially when they're in the drying rack, there's so many of them. I can't seem to get myself to do it all at once, but I'll be like, but I can like put away 10 of them at a time. Like right now I could do 10, and then later or the next day I'll do 10 more. And before you know it, like so much activity. Before you know it, I wish you could see what's going on, but okay, so funny. Before you know it, like you'll be doing things differently. And so I just want you to think about how you can do, it's not that you're doing more, it's just that you're doing different. And I hope that can ease up some of the trepidation maybe about making actual change in your life, that you're not necessarily doing more. It's not going to be harder. In fact, it's going to make things easier. I think the harder thing is to not change and to carry around baggage and bullshit and feel heavy all the time and feel worried all the time. I think it's a lot harder. So just being like, this is gonna stretch me, and it is gonna feel uncomfortable. It's gonna feel different, but different doesn't mean bad. It just means different, and actually it means better. So I hope that this spoke to you. And if you would like to have energy clearing, which really helps with being able to break old habits and let go of the things inside of you that are set in those negative ways, getting your energy clear can actually help you to be more free from the inside and actually have space to make different choices that are more positive, because your energy itself is more positive and you just feel like you're carrying less baggage from the past and the old things, so that you can actually move forward. And it makes you look brighter, by the way. Like my eyes, I just did a session, my eyes are really bright. That comes from the energy clearing work that I do. I call it Energy Clean Alchemy. And you can book a free 30-minute consult with me if you are so inclined. I'll put the link in the description. And if you'd like a sample of my work, I'm actually doing a free 5-day challenge this week, and I have the first day uploaded to YouTube. The description will have that link as well. And if you want the other videos as we go along, this is only the first day on Monday this week, but it's going to be until Friday, September 26th. But at any time you're watching this, if you want to access those other videos, the other 4 videos, you can let me know. You can either comment or you can email, and my email will be in the description too, and you can get access to those. So thank you so much, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it helped you. Okay, bye.